Hello, friends. Welcome to the continuation of week 2 of the spoiler tournament. This is Walter versus Sailor Nep. My name is Kern. I'm joined by Ark. How's it going, Ark?
Very good. Good evening, Kern. How are you?
I'm quite good. Sailor Nep with Gogo Walter as file names, and Walter with Swede Nod Day. I think that's in reference to the Swedish nod emote that he has on his channel, and the fact that it is Swedish Independence Day. It's a little like combined thing. Yeah, Reg pointing out like, why is this match 0-1? This is a crazy match to be 0-1. You would expect both Walter and Sailor to have taken a win in their first round. They're both very good players. Walter, very good runner, has made it to like playoffs and tournaments and stuff like that, and actually gone quite far in some of them. And Sailor, you know, I hate to like use SRL points as a thing, but like, you know, because sometimes they're not very meaningful. But when somebody is consistently at the top of the leaderboard in SRL, that says something. And Sailor is quite often at the top of that leaderboard. Back in the days when we used to use SRL.
Well, while it may be an 0-1 match, it's definitely an exciting one to check out. And we're underway with Walther heading to Sanctuary to open up.
And yep, looks like he is going to be doing the Houlihan to get a little bit of money here. Walter's sprite, for folks in chat wondering, is Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls.
And an early sword in Link's house. So we already have the divergent in starting patterns. Sailor Nep going Link's house up to Hyrule Castle, and we need some money right away for Walther.
Yeah, this could be an indication of Zora, or it could be like bottle merchant money or pod money, just if they didn't have good money on the way. I also I kind of like this. Like, if you're gonna Houlihan eventually anyway, starting with the Houlihan, then going back in Link's house to get the sword and continuing on from there is kind of nice.
And we have Walter in black right now just to sync up the runs. We obviously, as you saw, started about 30 seconds apart. So we're just syncing them up so that we'll have an accurate idea where they are as the seed continues.
Yeah, this is going to make it a lot harder on Walter, because he told me before the match that he's planning on just copying off of Sailor for all the safeties.
And Walter started Link's Hut and then went to the south. So going to Kakariko Village over the trip to Hyrule Castle. We did see a bottle early for Sailor Nep, so that'll help clear out Sick Kid if that has anything of value when they get over to Kakariko.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that Walter did not, you know, it looks like he slashed to try to see a bomb, but he didn't even try that hard. He didn't even look at both bushes. So he must have a plan here for how he's going to get bombs. Well, I guess he has money. Never mind. He had the Houlihan money.
And we're not moving any farther forward towards Zelda's cell. We're stealing a key and going towards escape.
Yeah, something that you would not really expect to see outside of a spoiler race. Walter getting the mushroom to start here.
I guess an early indication that we probably have some fetch quests that we need to go walk through the bottle and the mushroom, although red goo helpful anyway. Moon Pearl, help us get one step closer to the Dark World on Walther's side, and an Ice Rod to follow it up, so some good amount of, as well as a heart. The well is nice for items today. Sailor Nep going through the dark rooms pretty successfully by the looks of things. Just took one heart of damage.
Yep, found a cane there in the Dark Cross, but continuing on. So they're just about to enter the rat room. This is by far the hardest part of doing the entire sewers, in the dark, is trying to find where that key rat is, but they do a very fast job of it. Find it on their first attempt there. That was some pretty good rat RNG. The rat just went right into them, so.
And we also see Quake, which shout out to Reg, our tracker, has already put in the required medallions. Quake is needed to get into Turtle Rock. We've already put those in, and then on Sailor Nep's side, a glove and blue armor. It's always nice to see blue armor on the way, so you don't have to pick it up. It adds a whole lot of safety to a route. I think, if I remember correctly, one of your favorite safety items, if I remember.
I think it is, in my opinion, it is an objectively best safety item, S+. I say in my opinion objectively, but you know what? S+ safety item. But yeah, we also found a key in the back there, which might give us a hint as to why she decided to steal that key from the front side and take it into the back there.
So I guess we have a little bit of a no mode now for how to get to the Dark World. Walther probably going to head to Hyrule Castle and get that glove, or I could...
Yeah, I would expect him, if he went to CAC first to get the mushroom, yeah, it looks like he's setting up for a water walk to go to the potion shop here, because he picked up that mushroom in Kakariko. Sailor going to get their final bit of Dark World access here, and the other few items that they might want here, Ice Rod and stuff like that. So they might be the first in the Dark World, is what I would expect here, as Walter picks up the lamp. So yeah, to Walter, I guess his thinking is that he doesn't want to mess around in those dark rooms, so might as well get that lamp early if he's going to get it eventually anyway.
And we know we're going to be definitely going through Eastern, Pod, and Mire today, so a lot of dark rooms in play. Sometimes easy just to grab the lamp and be done with it. As some in chat are pointing out, that key in Hyrule Castle was in fact locked, so this would have been a logically required Agassiz today.
Yep, and Sailor went into the back of Blind's hut there, picked up a few pots, got a 20 rupee, and then left a couple of pots. Looks like they wanted exactly 51 rupees. Using their final bomb here could give us a hint as to why they wanted exactly 50 rupees. And yeah, does look like they are going to go down, and she is going to buy some bombs here. So yeah, consumables is a huge theme in the spoiler race. It's very important to track and plan your consumables, especially early game where you might not have magic if you need it. You might not have bombs, whatever. It's very important to keep up on the consumables. So I think this is a really smart idea. She very clearly, deliberately routed in that big 20 with the other rupees that were back in Blind's basement to ensure that she could buy those 10 bombs.
When we talk about routing, we'll remind everyone that both these runners started 15 minutes before the timers say on our screen. They were both given the spoiler log with the location of all the items, and they had 15 minutes to decide how best to route the seat, looking for items, the order for getting into different dungeons, as well as small keys. Spoiler log also will tell you tree pulls, what's behind the crabs, how many digs are in the dig game, stuff like that, just so they can route it as efficiently as possible. Our runners are able to watch the stream on today and interact in chat if they want to, and they can also check out that spoiler log at any point during the race if they are concerned about a note they took or anything.
Yeah, so chat theorizing, stealing a key for Dark Cross, you don't see this very often. I mean, the thing is, I feel like I can reveal this now that both runners are making this play. This was an AGA required seed. You were supposed to have done AGA to get another glove to come drop down in the back to get that one, since the key is back there. Of course, we don't have to do that. If this were an open race, very, very unlikely that any runner would be able to avoid doing AGA. They'd have to super galaxy brain it. So this is really cool to see in spoiler. And I also like, you know, it's interesting this seed. I feel like this is maybe the biggest gotcha of the seed. Both runners expertly avoiding the trap here.
Just under 9 minutes in, and it looks like our runners have synced up a little bit. Both in the same area, although Walther heading to the Dark World and Sailor Nep setting up that walk up to the potion.
All right, sword number 2. So far, pretty easy access to a lot of the things that you wish to have early on in spoiler races, which is armor and sword upgrades. Earlier, the better. So Sailor now looks like as if she's heading to, you know, Eastern or Pod right now. While Walter picks up a sword and whatever else is in Hype Cave.
And even with Blue Mail, the Dark World can be very treacherous as first item in Hype Cave, not bad. Second third. It's a pretty good Hype Cave. We won't see the last item, but 4 useful things for Walther.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tempered Sword, you're feeling pretty good, and the earlier the better, so I like this play. Sailor might feel totally comfortable doing Pod and Eastern without the sword upgrades, and who knows, maybe whatever's here will allow them to do those checks more efficiently later. And it looks like, yeah, indeed, it's a pretty good argument that money on Walter's side anyway was just for pod money and to buy those bombs early on.
So we get our first dungeon dip at 11:30. We're going to Pod.
Yeah, fairly in sync with each other right now. Yeah, Sailor just having a bit of a lead here in Pod.
As they both have a bottle with red goo in it, I wonder if we're going to be using that bottle.
Yeah, it looks like Sailor's setting up anyway to use the bottle. I'm just playing it extra cautious here, inching along to the left. If you haven't seen this yet, if you're new to Rando, this is just a trick to offset the camera and then off-screen the mimics. If they're off-screen, then the room thinks that you killed them, and it'll open up the door for you, so you do not have to have the bow. Walter, however, has somewhat famously messed this up to his detriment in I think it was the Keysanity tournament that cost him like a race. So let's hope he gets it this time. He went way far back to the right there. Super cautious about it. I feel fine, by the way, making fun of Walter. He is a buddy of mine, so I hope I don't sound too mean. But honestly,
I feel
he
sorry
deserves
for
it.
him during this race.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks like both of our runners are picking up Bombos. Bombos not required to get into Misery Mire or Turtle Rock, but it was right on the way, which can always help with a Crystal Cold Stare fight.
All right. Mirror is going to be required this seed, but also it's just one of those mobility items. You know, in terms of routing, Walter did go Hype Cape first, so he also has that hook shot if he wanted to use that for mobility reasons. But yeah, I mean, the earlier you get the boots, the hook shot, the mirror, the flute, you know, any mobility item is nice if you can route that in early. I like that strat from Walter. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that, where they like throw the bomb and then intentionally fall in the pit if they've come from the south there.
It's an easy way to get back. Yeah, very cool. Looks like we're still at the point of everyone having a same idea on the seed so far. A little bit of divergence as we started, but pretty similar ideas after the first 10 minutes.
Okay, both Walter and Sailor are coming in here without a bow. Maybe this means there is a bow here, or maybe this means require double dip, or maybe there's something even better that makes the double dip worth it.
It's a painful double dip if you have to do both Eastern and Pod twice.
Yeah. Oh, chat pointing out, I must have missed it. Did Sailor like start to go to the backside and then realize that she couldn't without a bow? Nice D-boost here, picking up some hearts here, just a little bit of safety. And yeah, it does find that bow, so.
Thank goodness.
They are, yeah, that makes like, it's not really a double dip of pod in that case, because like, you don't have to walk back.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these spoiler races so far, Eastern or Pod has had a bow. At least the ones that I've been able to watch. Walter making easy work of the dark rooms having that lamp. Both runners have it now. Sailor Nep went through a little bit of Hyrule Castle without the lamp before picking it up, but going to be useful for both runners throughout the seed.
Yeah, and I think that Sailor gained a little bit more time against Walter here in Pod, partially because of her dungeon routing, but I think also just a little bit in execution as well. So I think, yeah, Sailor Nep has the current lead and is currently making that lead even wider. So if Walter is watching or listening, that's got to be making him nervous. And if you're listening, Walter, you should be nervous.
With friends like Kern, who needs enemies?
Exactly.
Strong kill from Sailor Nep to take out Armos Knights. Our first crystal is on the board. And like you like to do it, beat either Eastern or Pod and go finish the...
Yeah, pretty nice. In fact, there's like seeds so far, other than that one gotcha in the back of, you know, escape with the whole key logic thing. It's pretty straightforward so far. Walter doing basically ice Armos strats here. Is this the quick kill he always does? Oh, I think it is actually.
He was able to get the one shot on the final Armos Knight, so he does gain a couple seconds in execution on that fight. So nice work to Walter. I almost feel like I have to be a little bit nicer to him to offset your.
Yeah, that's probably wise. That's probably accurate. But Walter did, yeah, gain a little bit of time there back, so that's good. And also, this could be a pretty decent time save as well. I honestly don't know Sailor Nep's Helma fight. If she's really confident with like hammer strats, then Walter would have a lot less time to gain here over her. But Tempered Sword against Helma does really make that phase 2 very fast and consistent.
Especially on 4 hearts, a little movement from Helmasaur King can take a runner out really quick.
Yeah.
Really nice Dark Turtle room from Sailor Nep. And we move into the first time we get to see the Helmasaur King.
Yep. She's not concerned at all about the low health here. That was a very deliberate choice to risk taking that fireball hit. She could have played it a lot safer there, and I know that she knows how. So that just shows her confidence there on that fight, and that was very fast.
Really nice RNG to get that little fire spit at the end to hold still, and the flippers is the prize from Pod today. Flippers going to be required because we have to jump into Swamp Palace. So, other than it obviously being a crystal, there was a good item on the bot.
Yeah, so Walter doesn't actually have a lot of time to gain here on Helma Phase 2, as much as he might hope. At least he got very similar RNG there with those fireballs, so just like Sailor got a little bit trolled by those early balls, so is Walter. This RNG, unlike other RNG, is not synced by the seed. But yeah, he does take that second phase out just a few seconds quicker.
Yeah, definitely boss execution on 2 of the fights, or our 2 bosses so far, going to Walther. Now we have a little bit of Hype Cave action from Sailor Nep's side. Walther has already been. There's our hook shot, as well as our Master Sword. A little bit of rupee action and a heart.
This is interesting.
Bombs.
Oh yeah, that bombs are useful too. It's interesting routing here from Sailor. I think the idea was she can just come from Hype Cave straight into, I was gonna say straight into Swamp, but looks like she's gonna go up. Oh, okay, right, the other sword. Still, could be that idea, like just basically save the time that it would take to save and quit and re-enter the Dark World portal here, is why she might have waited to do this until after Pod. And as we saw from her Phase 2 Helma, she really didn't need those swords at all, so. Chat asking, where's the Tempered Sword? It is right here.
Found it.
Oh, but is not going straight to Swamp. Interesting, okay.
So back into the Dark World for Walther. Will we see Village of Outcasts, Thieves Town, Skull Woods action, or is there somewhere else that he's looking to go?
Stay tuned. Find out on SG4.
We know we can't get to the boss quite yet in Skull Woods without a fire rod. So it looks like the villages are in play right now.
Yeah, I mean, you could go, I mean, if there was an item in Skull Woods, of course you go grab it, and it is a pendant, so there might just be like nothing there. This could just be the crystal play. Walter is having a think here. Uh-oh.
He could be bad-mouthing you in chat. I'm checking.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Oh, did I close SRL? If he is bad-mouthing me, I can't even see it, so...
Oh, no.
Sorry, Walter. Get wrecked.
We get to see our first climb up the mountain on Sailor Nep's side, and we're going past the first 4 chests in Thieves. Thieves Town does happen to be a 5/6 crystal, if that comes into play today. The other one being Misery Mire.
I think Walter, that pause is probably just Walter looking for the Thieves Town Big Key, now that I think about it. It's very common for runners in the spoiler tournament to focus on their progression and their big picture routing, because that can be a very hard thing to sequence correctly, even when the seed appears to be as straightforward as this one. But, you know, and then you wait and you leave the big keys and small keys and dungeons for, as you're running, you will like Control F and find them in the log, which could have been what was happening there.
Well, we are exploring a pendant Tower of Hera. We saw a good bomb Hera pot. And, oh, yes, looks like we're heading to the basement. There should always be an item in the basement of Tower of Hera.
It's the rule. Yeah, that's... You had to go up to the compass chest to get the small key to come down to the basement. Oh my goodness. For something, who knows what. Well, we do, because we have the log, but we're not going to tell you.
I haven't looked, so I'm just going to say the shovel, because we need more fetch quests. Another item of extreme value picked up in Thieves Town, so Titan's mitts are on Walter's side, and don't think we need the big key today, at least for the big key chest.
And there's Sailor's progression she was looking for, that Ocarina and Pendant Tower of Hera. So logically, this is what the seed wanted you to do, right? We see all the pieces now. It wanted you to defeat Aga, to go get the hookshot in Hype Cave, to hookshot over to the west side of the Dark World, to grab the mitts in Thieves Town. Or to grab the gloves in Thieves Town, to drop down the back of Escape to get the mitts.
Yet another thankful example of this not being a blind run. Speaking of blind, Walter has deleted blind, picked up red mail in his 3rd crystal. Pretty strong script fight from Walther on blind.
I don't know, I think I would say that that was more of a improv moment than a script moment. At least in phase 3 there. I mean, it was good improv, but...
But from my perspective as not Walter's friend, I think it was really good.
Oh, Greg letting us know that what happened is Walter accidentally did a spin attack instead of letting the sword drop on phase 2. Yeah, that's an easy thing to mess up on the fight. Okay, so Walter is going to come back to the Dark Cross. So glad to see that. We've been talking about it in chat. We didn't want to say it in the booth because in case Walter's listening, we don't want to help him. If we can help him, that's, I mean, what am I trying to say? We don't want to do is help runners avoid mistakes, because there is a study period for a reason. So it's fine if people talk about that stuff in chat for sure. I mean, if a runner wants to read it, we can't stop that from happening. We're not going to try. They can be watching each other too and see SailorNet pick up the thing. Just we want to be careful about that in the booth. But yeah, he is going to come back and pick it up. So it's really good that he noticed that now. I mean, it still sucks that he had to come all the way back here, but it's better to do it now than, you know, realize when he gets to Turtle Rock or something, or even worse, when he's heading back to Vitreous and doesn't have the cane. Oh yeah, Putz in chat pointing out that he probably realized it in pod when he was like wanting to put the block down for the switch. So that's a good theory. I like that.
And I think we just found our 4th sword. Butter on Lake Hylia Island.
Yep, but with Walter going into Ice Palace, looks like, I'd be surprised if he ends up picking that up ever, because if you want it anywhere, you probably want it for Cold Stare. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I would just imagine they probably skip it. So right now, it's hard to tell exactly who has the lead because, you know, Sailor, she's backtracking through Thieves Town about halfway done with the dungeon, whereas Walter doesn't have the ocarina from the basement of Tower of Hera, which is kind of a troll pretty far out of the way. So it looks like we're going to be on a little bit of a divergent path, and we might just need to check in once they hit some kind of bottleneck in the seed again, assuming they do hit a bottleneck.
And we do figure out why both runners went out of their way to get Bombos, because the Fire Rod was sitting in Ice Palace.
Yeah, and I do believe, other than like Boot's potential for GT Torch, that is pretty much no mode here, so it could just be simply they can be as divergent as they want from here until Ganon's Tower.
We haven't seen Ether yet, so we still need Ether to get into Mire.
Yeah, right, thanks.
And the new hotness in Ice Palace, Icebreaker. Making the route through Ice Palace much more enjoyable once you figure that little trick out. I haven't had a chance to practice it, but I'm looking forward.
Walter showing the classic spoiler mistake blunder that everybody has been making, including myself, is to do the icebreaker, but then forget to get the small key under the rock. Classic spoiler.
It's also really easy to go get that chest when you don't need it. As we see another blind takedown on Sailor Nep's side, so the crystal count evened up at 3 apiece.
Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly still, but I think I would give the edge here to Sailor, because going up to Tower of Hera for the compass chest to the basement is so time costly. So unless Walter is planning on or has some idea to route that in with other stuff up on the mountain, which we don't even know if that's possible, I think he's probably a little bit behind here. It's hard to tell.
And you just got to applaud the elegance of walking out of Thieves Town, using the mirror, and then activating the flute. That's just a beautiful. Bombo's gonna give us some fire rod shots against Cold Stare, if we need it. Yeah, it makes it nice and quick and clean.
Yep. So Sailor showing us that when you've started the Bombos animation, you can actually open your item menu and item to something else, which is a little counterintuitive if you've ever tried to open the item menu while like a boss head was exploding, for example, and realized you couldn't. But yeah, you can do that with medallions. It's kind of fun. Yeah, chat trying to like work out, what is, and well, by chat, I mean our tracker, Reg, trying to point out, like, what is the scenario in which you'd be able to skip this aggro requirement and open? My own opinion is that the only way you'd be able to skip it is if you had cleared everything else and saved Hyrule Castle for last. In which case, you do all those items, you realize that there's nothing there, but if you hard reset your console right then and undo your progress, you can then steal a small key to go to the back of escape. The odds of anybody actually doing that, though, in an open race are pretty small. Or even like thinking of it in the moment, that is a play that they could do.
So it looks like we might have a chance to get your divergence corrected here. Walter heading up the mountain. So can Walter finish the Hera jaunt before Sailor Nep gets through Ice Palace? That'll give us our idea of where we...
Yeah, let's see if Walter can get this efficiency here. But yeah, at least that'll give us an idea of the difference. But yeah, I wonder if there is a way to route in other stuff on Death Mountain. I mean, yeah, I don't want to theorize too much and help anybody out. But it looks like Walter is going east, so I'm assuming this isn't just the Tower of Hera play.
And it's about to be Cold Stare versus Paradox Cave. Sailor Nep had the puffs all cornered, then an unfortunate ice block let them free, but not enough to prevent the 4 crystals at once.
Yeah, at the end of the day, pretty similar phase 2, or it's like in general Cold Stare fight as Walter had there. Walter stopping off to get some silver arrows here in Paradox Cave. I mean, I guess if nothing else, right, that'll help with Vitreous.
And a final Ganon fight as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like we might be able to combine Turtle Rock and Hera together.
Yeah, no reason why Walter wouldn't be doing that right now, and he is opening up Turtle Rock, so I imagine that's the play. That might give him a little bit of efficiency. I mean, basically, it saves him the time of walking up to Hera, but he still has to walk from Turtle Rock over to Hera, so it's not a huge time save, but I would say that this route is slightly more efficient.
The big keys in that chest today. Extra heart pickup for Sailor Nep that Walter did not get in Paradox Cave.
Oh man, that could be a sign that Walter... I mean, he did tell me before the race that he was going to be cheating off of Sailor for those safeties, so, I mean, maybe he didn't even look through the log for the hearts, didn't have time or whatever. Sometimes some runners will, like, if they know they're going to go in Paradox Cave anyway to get the silvers, they'll just see what else is in there and then, copy that over to their route. But Walter either didn't want the heart container or didn't do that this time. Walter doing some one-hit KO strats here in these these roller rooms. You don't often see that. Yeah, despite this efficiency gain here, with Sailor now currently opening Turtle Rock and Walter just ahead as much to be in Chain Chomp room. Oh, never mind. I was going to say, I think that Sailor still has the lead because Walter has to go down to the basement of Tower of Hera. But yeah, that Chain Chomp death is like, I wonder how many, we should have like a death toll count for the spoiler log because it's been dozens of deaths easily of those Chain Chomps.
It's one of those things when you have a low collection rate, you're playing with fire on some of those enemies that hit hard, like the chain chomps. When you're even with red mail, 4 or 5 hearts, 6 hearts, easily.
Yeah, it gets some better RNG from the Chain Chomps now, allowing him to get the iframes you would normally expect to get. So yeah, it was kind of a product of bad RNG in that room that, throws you off and causes you to go into some weird situations. So like at around the 40-minute mark, as I'm commentating, I like to kind of theorize what I think the odds are of seeing a sub 1. I think in this seed, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really tight to try to get that sub 1. They still are finishing out Turtle Rock. They have Mire and Swamp to do, and then Ganon's Tower, of course. But this seed has been hard because it's required a lot of dips into pendants, some double dips, some weird stuff like steal the key to go back of Hyrule Castle. So I would say it's possible for each runner, but it's going to be a challenge. I don't know. What do you think, Ark?
I agree. Seeing us have to go full through the 2 long dungeons doesn't help, and then just that added dips into Pod and Hera. I think the Hera ones. I'm also curious if we will see Boots today. 40 minutes is a long time on a spoiler race to go without seeing Boots.
Yeah, totally. And I also wanted to just shout out Sailor there. I don't know if y'all caught it, but that Chain Chomp room was super clean, and she had a heart and a half, so couldn't afford to get hit once. So Walter with the small key, so unless there's something he wants on Laser Bridge, doesn't even have to go to the Laser Bridge.
These fireball bars can also be just a little bit annoying when you're sitting at 5 hearts. But Walter not worried.
Yeah, it will make, like, if he does go to Laser Bridge, of course, it makes those lasers a lot more scary to be on 4 health. And he is going. Does a nice walk laser skip. I love to see that for the Ether Medallion, which is our go mode. Well, for Walter, it's no mode.
Yes, definitely needed all 3 medallions today. 2 of them to open 2 of our dungeons, and then Bombos was our entry into Ice Palace where the Fire Rod was nestled.
So really the only main item of interest left that we haven't seen is those boots. Everything else we kind of don't care about this seed. Other than, like, I guess, nice safeties. Yeah, you're right, you're right. I used no mode when I shouldn't. The funny thing is, it makes me cringe when I say no mode, or when I hear no mode for spoiler races, and I used it anyway.
So we get a Trinex kill on the left side and Ether pickup on the right side. So we are down to 2 dungeons, 2 crystal dungeons that we need to visit: Swamp and Misery Mountain. Hello, Trinex. And it looks like Hookshot Cave is going to be bypassed on Walther's side.
Yeah, and heading almost there to Tower of Hera right now. Uses the mirror to dodge that that fireball from the Lionel. So Sailor Nep finishing up the second phase of Trinex. And this is going to give us a good idea of how far ahead she is from Walter right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it's basically the difference of that additional trip to Hyrule Castle to the Dark Cross. Walter, I think maybe not looking far enough ahead for where the big key is or something. Or small key.
Well, I think one of the other skills that becomes very important very quickly in reading the spoiler logs is knowing the difference between the map chest and the compass chest. That is also sometimes a big gotcha that can get our runners. We've seen multiple times someone going and getting a couple rupees and then realizing, ah yes, that's not the chest I'm looking for.
Yeah, I believe that that basement into Tower of Hera is called the basement cage chest. Or
Yeah,
not even chest, it's basement cage.
Basement cage, yep.
But it could be that, yeah, it could be that Walter got confused by, no, because it would be called the vanilla big key, is where
yeah,
he's
not so much in this instance, just little hitches in the spoiler log that can catch you if you're not quite sure the names of all the chips.
Oh yeah, totally. I should say that before the league tournament, you know, there was that whole spoiler study period thing. Walter was always a runner, and I was always a pilot for that. So I do know that Walter does not like reading the log and having to remember all the names of the chests and stuff. So I would not be surprised if Walter's been caught up by that at all.
So we grab our flute. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
And I'm guessing we'll go get that activated on Walter's side so we can head over to the Meyer area. So far, just picking up a key on Sailor Nep's side and see if we have a easy front or if it's a bit of a pain yet.
Yep, Walter still having to activate that flute is just putting him that much further behind, unfortunately. But yeah, Sailor is just ripping through Meyer right now. Walter showing off some hot tech here, slashing his sword to charge a spin. By spinning after activating the flute, that'll allow him to call the bird earlier than the cooldown timer that would be there normally. This tech is not at all useful unless you don't have the boots, because it's better to flute dash here. But I guess he's changing his mind to go to Sick Kid instead.
And while you mentioned the boots, we found them in Misery Mire, so it was going to be a while before we could get them.
I'm not sure what that pop off at Sick Kid was about. I can tell you that in the log, there is a cape there. I guess Walter just changed his mind about wanting the cape. And yeah, but based off the time that he entered the Meyer area here, he is about just under 3 minutes behind Sailor.
And we'd like to welcome the raiding party from SpeedGaming 2. You're joining us with the spoiler log, A Link to the Past tournament between Walther 4 and Sailor Nep. We are in the second week of 7 weeks of Swiss in this event, and then we will be going to brackets after the 7 weeks. We had 64 players start the tournament, and are going to fight it out for 7 weeks to see who can make our top 8. And we see how great silvers are at taking care of Vitreous. That's that.
Crystal catch here at about 48.55, so we'll see if Walter's able to gain any time here in this dungeon.
The routing in the front of Meyer is just not nice. So on Sailor Nep's side, the final crystal we're looking for today is in Swamp Palace. And getting to run through Swamp Palace in go mode makes it a pretty quick Whew.
That was a that was a clutch potion health refill there.
Glad we picked up that red potion from the potion shop.
So with just a go mode swamp left and then a GT clear, I think the possibility of a sub 1 seed is basically going to come down to where that big key is.
Are you trying to start the guessing game early?
I mean, it don't matter. We don't have a bot. You guys can get your guesses in for the GT guessing game as early as the race starting. Because unfortunately, although there is a winner, there are no points.
Walter also going 8 for 8 on the little eyes and taking care of Vitri.
Looks like he is going to gain a little bit of time here in the Mire dungeon. I don't know where he gained it from, but he's coming out of here just about a little less than 2.5 minutes behind, and he came into the Mire area almost 3 minutes behind. So probably gained about 30 seconds here. Could have just been movement in general, but I'm not sure because I think they took pretty much identical routes through Mire. Walter even forgetting to use the boots in many rooms. Or am I counting backwards? Hold on a second. 48.55 to 51.20 something. No, that's right. I'm counting
don't
correctly.
Make me do time math.
I'm doing it right, I think.
An
Just
extra,
under 2.5.
Extra heart on the way for Sailor Nep to get up to 7. Never hurts to see one of those as on your path. An expertly done Cane of Samaria diver down to get to the back of Swamp.
Chat pointing out that they did have different routes after getting the big key. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think if it's possible for Walter to gain half a minute in Mire, I would say that it's possible that he could make up this difference just based off of slightly different routing and execution. So, although it feels like a pretty comfortable lead to be like 2.5 minutes ahead of your opponent, I gotta imagine that Sailor is not sleeping on it. Nicely timed silver arrow. Yeah,
That's probably one of the hard parts, getting that silver arrow to line up. And well done. 7 crystals in the bag. It's off to GT.
Yep, 5307 crystal catch. Again, we'll check in with Walter when he catches that crystal.
And as we're getting close to GT, I want to remind everyone, and A, thanks for watching us here tonight, and B, please give both of our runners a follow, putting on a great show, some great execution on boss fights with 5 hearts, 7 hearts. So check out their channels, support them, and thank you for joining us. Walther
Yeah,
also,
chat. Sorry, go ahead.
Walther also deciding to do Diver Down to get farther forward in Swamp.
Yeah,
Took 2
practically
blocks.
speaking, chat's talking about how much time Walter could practically gain against Sailor in GT. It's true that it's not a lot, and runner of Sailor's caliber, you're not going to be able to gain 2.5 minutes easily in G Tower just by execution or whatever. Like their level of, difference between the how fast they can run over optimal is not even going to be a 2.5 minute difference. So even like a task bot couldn't gain 2.5 minutes in GT. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't go wildly off, or that you couldn't gain time in other ways, like through maybe a weirder dungeon route or something like that.
Quick couple chest pickup on the right side of GT, and looks like we're heading left, and our crystal catch, 55-42.
So Walter is losing just a few seconds here in Swamp Palace overall. Oh, Sailor. Oh, okay. I thought Sailor was going to go for the Samaria strat there, which is pretty tight. But I think just forgot to flip the switch back. I was super pumped there for a second. I'd love to see that. There is a Samaria tech where you can shoot the Samaria beam, like basically between the block switch and the rail there.
Looks like we are not going to Rando Room.
Yep, taking the almost NMG way through that. I mean, it's pretty much the same screens. So it's interesting here, because like in NMG, you always go left in order to get to the vanilla big key chest location quicker. But I've been told that if you can do the right side quickly, consistently, that it's actually faster as long as there is a small key in the hope room. And that's exactly why they don't do it in NMGs, because there isn't a small key there.
So we get to say howdy to Ice Armos with a silver arrow. So I guess big key is in the vanilla room again.
Must be.
There it is, nothing else of value. And it's time to start the climb just as Walter enters GT. And as you pointed out, that small key on the right side that both of our runners have picked up. Actually, 2.
And yeah, Walter is indeed going to go full right here. I don't know if I spoiled that and accidentally helped him here. That was not my intention, but if you're listening, Walter, clever girl. But it's not a huge time save anyway. I think it's like a matter of seconds at most is the difference. And that's if you can do the right side like really optimally, which most runners can do the left side much more optimally.
It's fun to see these Samaria dash strats from Walther as well.
Love to see that. So Walther using some entrance strats there. You have to know how to get through that room without an invincibility item, without an entrance mode with low health. So his entrance knowledge coming in handy to get through that room. And Sailor, quaffing the potion, took a little bit of a beating in the gauntlet there, but has plenty of safety still left.
One of the laggier rooms you'll see in the run dealt with pretty effectively with silver. Six silver shots, and we're to the big key room on Walter's side. Another convenient small key too. Small keys have been pretty nice up in GT today.
Yep, Sailor didn't need that since she went left. I mean, neither of them really needed it. It's just faster to have that second key from that chest than to do the mini helmet room. But yeah, because she went left, she already had an extra key regardless.
How will Moldorm 2 fare today? When can you miss it?
Yeah, exactly. As Walther is just now starting his gauntlet climb, so pretty commanding lead here for Sailor. You know, it's crazy to think that at the end of this race that one of these two runners is going to be 0-2 and the other one is going to be 1-1. Both of these runners, like you would expect to see 2-0 after this week. So this is pretty insane.
One hit in round one. Looks like 2 hits. Second round of Aga 2. Just like that, we're done with Aga 2. Three excellent timed silver shots takes care of Lamo 2. We're moving on Walther's side, and it's time to drop in and to get some bacon. Looks like we're gonna drop in around 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 35 seconds.
I love to see dash strats for the 1-1 there. Oh, but just missing the 1-1 it looks like.
And did take a hug from a firebat as well, so 2.5 hearts for the remainder of the phases. Phase 3. And if you didn't know you could reach with the lamp from 1 square away, you can't do that, as Walther just saw right there in the
Yeah, pretty nice. Like when you're out of magic, you don't have to drop down and go get the full magic again. This also allows him to fake powder, keep his magic total low if he wanted to, but he doesn't need to because he has full health anyway. So never mind. But here's a double to start off phase 4 for Sailor, and looks like they set up for another great double.
That is a beautiful Ganon kill. Let's hopefully the bridge of treachery doesn't get in our way, and we can get some GGs in the chat for a solid Ganon fight from Sailor.
Started the cutscene a little late here. Oh, never mind. I was just looking at the wrong stream. Yeah, GG to Sailor as Walter heads into his own Aga2 fight.
The geometry boss giving us some not friendly patterns so far. But then you get a 3 to... Is that 3 or 2?
That was a double there at the end.
Hoping for a 3.
Yeah, 4 cycle is not bad. This is, a lot of people don't realize, this is legit one of the most difficult fights in the game to do quickly. If you can do a 3 cycle every time, you're like a god. So 4 cycle is, you know, something that you're not going to lose any sleep over.
And 105.26, Walther jumps into his Ganon fight. Gets the Trident spin, very nice.
Walter, of course, got to cheat off of Sailor Nep to see what the Ganon pattern was going to be. Oh my goodness, Walter. Those fire bat dodges. Wow.
Another, whew.
Oh my god, Ganon, please. Ganon. Nice. Okay, so Walter getting that. I love that when you slash, you start to slash, you know, before the text box happens there. If Ganon, you know, depending on how Ganon warps, you can like freeze stun him immediately. And so he was able to do this all in a single torch lighting. So very nice Ganon fight. And get your GGs in chat for Walter. Sailor now with us. Good game, Sailor.
GGs to Walter, and thanks for putting on this restream and for having me. That definitely was an interesting one. I would have not been a huge fan of this seed if it had been a non-spoiler race.
Yeah, exactly. My God, some of the things like the basement, you had to go, and even in a spoiler race, you had to go up to the compass chest to get the small key to go to Tower Hera basement. But yeah, that required Aga for back of escape, right?
Yeah, that's so rare to see that happen and for it to be skippable. So that was really good.
Yeah, like only in spoiler is it really ever practical you're going to be able to skip that kind of Aga requirement. Good game, Walter. I can see that Walter is holding down his push to talk button, but I'm not hearing any sound come out. Okay, we will wait. Looks like he's setting up his mic or something. So sorry, go ahead, Sailor.
So I had the restream open for most of the race on my phone, but then my phone died. One of the last things I got to hear was talking about the mountain routing. The reason I did mine the way I did was I figured I had to go to Thieves Town, and if I get the flute after doing that, then I'm going to have to walk to CAC again. So I was just trying to save a trip.
Oh, I see. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense because that's the difference in your movement efficiency is getting to, like we called out on the restream there, mirror right in front of Thieves Town, activate the flute versus Walter who can walk back over. So yeah, I think you do win out there in terms of movement efficiency with that consideration.
I did
Because Walter still had. Sorry, go ahead.
I did think early on when I went and grabbed the 300 rubies in the back of Skullwoods after doing my CAC checks of just going and doing Thieves Town right then and there, but I figured either way I still have to do one more walk over here. And also I was still kind of puzzling out just a couple pieces of the seed in my notes, and so I went, okay, I think this will be okay, and that's why I saved and quit after getting those 300.
Yeah, Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yep.
can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, for like the 10 first like preparations, the 10 first minutes, I was 100% acting like this was an Aga seed, and then like the 5 last minutes I was like, wait, I can just steal the small key, so I had to like throw everything around again. But I mean, it didn't change that much in the end. But you didn't have to like do the entire loop around in the dark world. That would have been pretty sad.
Well, and you.
The
Oh, you
reason
mean
that
like? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say part of the reason that I went for that like very first thing was I actually was wailing because the one thing I did not have time for was, hey, where am I going to get my first bombs? But I remembered I noticed in passing that there were bombs on Uncle's. I was like, okay, we'll just do this first, deal with the dark rooms.
Yeah, and you both ended up having to buy extra bombs in Kakariko Village just because there were enough early to do a couple checks, but not enough moving.
Yeah, I'll like as soon as it's a seed where pod is a crystal, I'll usually just start with a whole hand because a lot of the times I want to go to the Kakariko first anyways, so then I can just buy bombs there and then I don't have to worry about the money for pod. Unless there's like a good 300 close by.
Yeah, I like that. That's really smart. I might steal that from you because it is quite common that you do need money early at some point, and 300s are not always easily available.
Yeah, I mean, the most convenient one I did was in the Skullwoods big key chest, which is not exactly great.
Yeah, that is pretty rough.
I got super nervous because I had like enough of the restream up that I only saw like Sailor Nep's game feed, and I was like, wait, they're in Skullwoods? Oh, I'm totally missed something here.
Did either of you have any thought to maybe skipping the lamp?
I thought about it, but like pod that early, that low health, with no fire source whatsoever, it's kind of risk. It's kind of sketchy.
Yeah, I had the same
I
thought.
think it was worth to just get it.
Yeah, especially I think I was on 4 hearts at the time. Even with the blue mail that I got, there's no way that's worth it. It's it's way too risky. That turtle RNG,
Yeah.
no.
And even if we like get past them, it's still gonna be like really slow because of how like dangerous and careful you have to be.
Yeah, because if the turtles damage you, on top of that, you might go into Helmasaur with 1 heart or something, and then you're just no, never. Not in that spot.
Yeah, if the fire rod was in a better spot, definitely would have skipped the lamp, but
Hard
kind of
agree
had
with
to
that.
go into pod before fire rod anyways. I had a couple of moments where I feel like I misrouted a bit. Partly is because I usually don't have enough time to like search up the keys. So sometimes I'm searching the keys as I'm walking and do a couple of mistakes like that, like missing the King of Samaria, for example. I was trying to like find how I would route pod, and I just completely skipped that chest.
Oh no.
Yeah, we were wondering when you had realized that you had skipped the Cane of Samaria.
As soon as I entered the dark world, pretty much. So it was like right after that save and quit.
Well,
That's like one of the worst
Go ahead,
ends to
Slim.
skip too, because with the boots being buried so deep and behind it, it's not like you could even think, well, I can at least go back and get it later when I have items that make it faster, because those aren't going to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I
that's
was
so
thinking if
unfortunate.
there was like a, I was thinking there was like a good way I could route it back in, but I just ended up doing it right before Ice Palace because I definitely wanted it before that.
So looking ahead in the tournament, it's crazy to me that this match was going to result in one of the two of you being 0-2. And I think that, like, along with other people who are now 0-2, like Shady Force, the 0-2 group is going to be probably pretty unhappy with you now joining that Swiss round. But yeah, it's insane to me that you both are like in an 0-1 match here, and even Sailor being 1-1 is crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm 100% ready to get crushed by Shady in the third week of the Swiss rounds for sure.
Can you imagine if you two went up against each other next round? My goodness.
I've been enjoying this tournament a lot so far. Like, even though I'm losing, it doesn't really matter too much because I have like no expectations on myself in this kind of format whatsoever. So even though it's like kind of stressful as a game mode, it's still kind of relaxing in the way that like you don't need to have any pressure on actually winning. You can just try and have fun and just play the game.
Yeah, I think anything else aside, it's cool being able to actually tune into the restream while you're playing. It's a nice change of pace there.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of more like a vanilla speedrun or something like that.
Yeah, I think this race probably has to be like the last nail in the coffin of me actually learning the Hera pod without the boots. Because like in a normal seed, if you don't have the boots to do the Hera pod, it's like, well, it's not the end of the world to just climb it the normal way. But in a spoiler seed, that's like so much time.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite as bad of a time loss if the big key was in vanilla big key chest, and then and like Tower of Hero was a crystal. Because like in this one, at least you had to still go do tile room no matter what you did. But
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, no, I would agree with you. Definitely learn Harapot for spoiler races. I mean, you already know. I know you already know Harapot with the boots, but yeah, bootsless Harapot. Yeah, Ark, any final questions for Sailor or Walter?
Yeah, I was curious what when you both get a seed, what are your initial processes on deciding how to look at it, what you're looking for, and how to start the routing?
I like first mark all the crystals and pendants, and then I just mark on my tracker everything I know like right away that I'm gonna need, and then just like search them all up, and then try and like formulate some kind of game plan around that, I guess. And sometimes you have to like add a couple of things extra, like in this case we had to like add in bombos because I wasn't sure we're gonna need that at the beginning, and I added in cape for a while as well because I thought it was an Agastine, which it technically was, I guess.
I use a similar process for the first couple steps, marking the things that I need on my tracker, determining what's what. One thing that I'd say I do differently is after I look up where the items are, the next thing I do is I route all the dungeons. And I do it the laziest way possible. It's just everything I need, I'm just going to write them down in basically like a shorthand I made for myself. And then after that, I use the rest of my time planning out my actual route, or at least the part that I know that I can't make up on the fly. And then the rest, I try to see if I can find any convenient save dudes or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm certainly not fast enough to do all that. I barely have time to like even search up any safeties and then just check all of the dungeon routing on the way to them, pretty much. And then hopefully I can see some safeties on the restream from my opponent.
Yeah, I needed probably an extra minute or two this time just because the seed had quite a bit to think about. So I kind of slammed out what I would do to get Dark World access and then just kind of stared at my notes during the parts I didn't have to pay too much attention and made up the rest as I went along. Like, my overall route, not the dungeon routes, just says Link's house, Uncle's secret passage, steel key, dark cross, back of escape, woods drop, blind's hut, far right, Kakariko, top, middle, free cuckoo, turner mushroom. That's it. That's all that I wrote out of my route. Everything else I made up as I went along. I just didn't have time this time.
That's crazy. Yeah, there's that puzzle like Walter you were talking about at the beginning of like realizing halfway or not halfway through, 10 minutes in, oh right, I don't have to do Aga, that puzzle. And there's a few moments like that of like, how do I do this optimally in this seed? But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Good games to you both. Thank you so much for letting yourself be restreamed, and good luck to you moving forward in the tournament.
Yep,
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for the for putting it together.
Yes, thank you both. GG.
GG.
Ark, any last words?
No. Thank you everyone for watching. I believe that is the last spoiler log of the day. So thank you everyone for joining us for the spoiler log, and pretty soon we will jump in to week 3 of the Swiss rounds. And looking forward to more great matchups like the one we saw tonight. Kern, great working with you this evening.
Yeah, same. And yes, thanks all. We will catch you probably tomorrow. We're going to have more matches. There's some scheduled for tomorrow, and it looks like there's even a final match scheduled for Monday as well. So yeah, look forward to that, and have a good night, everybody.